In this video, I will demonstrate a few options for increasing or decreasing the difficulty of various GOATA exercises. These options can be included in any of the GOATA exercises or flows on this channel, or are great options if you're doing GOATA exercises on your own. To begin, we'll start with the child rocker. There aren't too many ways to make this simpler. However, you can just focus on one part of the child rocker at a time. If you struggle with your back rounding as you go back towards your knees, find that position, press your hands forward, press your feet back to create isometric tension, then try to hold that tension and slowly just rock in that position and try to get your butt closer to your heels. To increase the challenge, you can increase the tension in the way that I just mentioned, or by bringing your hands and your knees together as if to make the ground shorter underneath you, therefore increasing the tension in the front of your core. You can also make the child rocker a predominantly shoulder exercise by pressing yourself back and pulling yourself forward, using the muscles on the tops of your shoulder to press yourself back and underneath the shoulder to pull yourself forward. And maybe the most challenging versions of the child rocker would be to pull yourself forward, pull your knees and hands together as you rock back, and then pressing your hands away, spreading the ground apart underneath you, pressing your feet back as you rock forward. So you're engaging the front of your body, your core as you rock back, and the posterior chain of your body to propel yourself forward. So any of those options can be done with the feet, the tops of the feet, pressed down into the floor. And they can also be done with the toes tucked, depending on where you are in your GOATA journey. Tucking the toes will help stretch the bottoms of your feet and the plantar fascia. Pressing the tops of your feet down into the ground will help to create space for the arch by stretching the tops of the feet and the fronts of the ankle. If you have your toes tucked, you can also lift your knees up off the mat and then do your rocking in that position. You can do it with the tops of your feet pressed down into the ground as well, although it's much more common to tuck the toes. From the bow hip stretch, you have a lot of the same options. You can press your hands forward, your feet back, create that isometric tension, and also pull everything together, whether you want tension on the front or the back side of your body. If we're in the bow hip stretch rocker with the leg extended and you're having trouble keeping that leg extended, you can just slide the toe, slide the foot on the floor to help support a little of the weight of that leg. And then over time, work to keep that leg extended for longer and longer periods of time. Now, a couple options with the rock. We can just rock forward and back very simply. We can also rock side to side and even combine them, creating a bit of a zigzag motion, going side to side, forward and back. Another option from this position would be to open and close the hips. And again, that can be done in various degrees of side to side rocking or forward and back. You can find all sorts of different ways to challenge your hips in those positions, work different muscles at different angles. However, we should probably spend most of our time in a more neutral position, maybe with a slight rock side to side. Although it is good to explore the extreme ranges of motion. Moving on to the half kneeling lunge position. This can be done with the tops of the foot pressed down into the mat or the toes tucked. To make it a little bit more challenging, you can lift the back knee. If you struggle in this position, it might be better to start with the standing and work your way down, because a deep lunge like this is very challenging, although it can be good to just get there briefly and back down to help prepare the foot for that much pressure, the foot and the rest of the leg. If you're working on getting that back leg up off the mat, you can use a little bit of support as needed, and then again work to reduce the support. If you're starting to get uncomfortable in this position, you can collapse the front leg and then you end up back in your bow hip stretch. From the Good Morning Child Rocker, it gets easier as you sit your butt back onto your heels, and also on the other extreme as you come up straight. So you can play with different angles and see what your body will tolerate. Over time, you want to be able to be strong in all of the positions. If you're looking for more of a challenge, you can grab a weight, whether that be a weight plate, dumbbells, kettlebells, rocks, whatever you have around. And then hold that weight. And then as you get tired, you can put it down and slowly work to increase the weight or the amount of time that you're working with the weight. And from there, we get up into the standing work. So in our bilateral bow, again, a very simple option is to add support, take a little bit of pressure out of the feet, put a little weight in your hands, and then slowly work to decrease the amount of weight in your hands and have all the weight in your feet. The same applies for the drop-in, the taps, which also helps with balance. We want to practice balance, not instability and being real wobbly. A little bit of instability is fine, but again, we want to spend most of our time practicing being stable. The body gets good at what you practice. If you're in any of the standing work, whether that be your double bow, your drop in, you can also elevate the back leg or just work on one leg. And you can also, like the Good Morning Child Rocker, add a weight and increase the weight or the amount of time that you're holding the weight. Now, if you're just getting fatigued in your drop-in, you can drop down to your half kneeling lunge. It's a very similar position, especially for the foot, ankle, and knee. Well, your hip will be a little bit more collapsed. And then again, you can bring that back down into your bow hip stretch. These are all single leg options. Again, we're looking to spend more time in these positions, whether they be the bow hip stretch or up to the drop in. And then if we're in the double bow, you can collapse down into your bolt squat or even further into your child rocker. So these options can be added to any of the flows. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you for your time, your attention, and your energy.